Well, we were having a Power 1490 reunion, a 15-year reunion. It was the very first reunion the radio station has ever had. And the Power crew, these people, me, all the DJs, hadn't been in the same room together since the station changed formats 15 years ago. So I thought, we got to document this. This hasn't happened in 15 years. It may never happen again. So get it on film, and set up a green screen, and had a camera crew down, and just sat down with each member of the Power crew and just asked them about the station and their experience there, and kind of got some reflections from them about what the station meant to them and to Tucson, and really just got their story on Power 1490. A couple reasons. We never got to say goodbye, and I think that's what hurt me the most. Yeah, I was sad to lose my job and sad that the station went away, but not being able to say goodbye to the listeners who had supported us and who made us who we are, that sucked. And I imagine from their point of view, I would have been pissed if I were them. I would have took it personally. There was no explanation. Just to turn on the station one day as a listener and have it be gone and never know why. I had even heard rumors, people, making stuff up that, I heard the station got shut down because of, drug cartel. It's just random crazy stuff. So I felt that we owed our listeners the proper goodbye and proper explanation of what happened, along with kind of, telling them the history of the station. I wanted to make the film to kind of immortalize the station, kind of make it a time capsule, and let the story be known of Power 1490. And then I'm not going to lie, I've been made fun of being a little bit too sentimental. You could say this film was closure for me. Amazing, awesome experience. This is the very first film that I attempted to make. I learned a lot. I started just tinkering around with film a couple years ago at a radio station I worked for. We'd go out at lunch and film me eating tacos at different taco restaurants. And then I'd take the film back to the station and kind of edit it up and chop it up and make little 5-minute, fun taco reviews. TacoInspector.com, by the way. And I don't know, I'm really interested in, I really got interested in film and editing and producing, and this was my first go at it, and it was fun. My favorite part had to be I kind of took on a role of a historian as far as the radio station went, and I had to dig up a lot of old people and facts and audio and stuff, and I learned more about Power 1490 this past year making the film than I did working there. My entire 2 or 3 years working there, and the 15 years afterwards, I learned more making this film about the station than all that time put together. It was cool to dig up things and find out things that I never knew, and maybe a lot of the other people that worked for Power 1490 didn't know, like how the station started, how Bruce and Dick Stein met for the first time, the ideas behind it, why the station flipped formats. I mean, I knew why they flipped. They flipped to turn to an alternative station, but really kind of behind the scenes, I had never known until I talked to Curly, Chris Paddock, who was the guy that flipped the format. And I'm sitting down with him in a room for the first time in 15 years saying, all right, so you flipped our format, why and how, and take me through that. So that was the funnest part for me, is learning and doing some investigative detective work into the station. Yeah, I didn't realize what a huge project this was going to be. I had no clue. The original idea was, when we had a reunion, I was going to bring a flip, little Sony flip camera, and take it around the room and interview people. And hey, it's Bruce. Tell me about the station. And it started with that idea. Then I'm like, no, let's have I had some friends at a TV station that owed me a favor, so I said, no, let's bring a green screen in and have this crew come down and shoot it in HD, and we did that. And so then I thought, okay, I'll just chop up those interviews and make a little 20-minute movie. Then looking at that footage and the stories that I had captured, I said, no, I want to do more. I want to make this bigger. So I set out to find some people that didn't make the reunion. For example, Dick Stein, who was the general manager, who was the first guy to actually green light this whole Power 1490 project. He was in Northern California. I drove to Chico, California, which is like 2 hours north of San Francisco, to meet with Dick Stein. He didn't even know who I was. I rented a hotel and a hotel conference room, and I had to buy my own green screen now, and I bought my own HD camera and green screen and a whole lighting rig. And here I am set up at 7 a.m. in the morning in Chico, California. And I'm shaking Dick Stein's hand, and he's sitting down and telling me the story of what he remembers from Power 1490. Same thing with Maximum T. One of the first jocks on Power 1490 to do the Wrap It Up show. He didn't know me. We've never worked together. Called him. Now we're good friends. Who else? Some of the artists. Listening to the original interviews where the jocks are talking about having Lighter Shade of Brown in town and Rodney O and Joe Cooley for car shows. I picked up the phone and called them. I mean, it quickly got out of hand. Calling a Chicago TV production crew and saying, "Hey, I need you guys to shoot some footage of the Duchossois headquarters," which was the company that owned Power 1490 at the time. Stuff like that. I mean, it just totally got, I will say, out of hand, especially money-wise, too. I brought in some folks to do color correction and animation, and that was the big surprise. I thought it was just something we'd shoot with a flip camera and put up on YouTube. The hardest part for me, and the most time-consuming part, was if you watch the film, you see throughout the film little clips of air checks, of on-air pieces when we were on the air on Power 1490. I had to listen to hundreds and hundreds of hours of old tape to find the pieces I needed for the film. For example, I had 100 or so cassette tapes, full-length 90-minute cassette tapes. Brett the Man Spiegel, who was the production director, gave me a crate this big full of reels and tapes. I had to buy a reel machine to put the tape on and digitize it. And Killer Keith Duncan had a huge duffel bag of all of his tapes. I had to sit down. There was no fast forwarding or skimming. I literally had to sit down and listen to hundreds of hours of old Power 1490 tapes and kind of pick out the stuff that I wanted for the film. I had to listen to it all because I didn't want to miss anything that should be in the film. That was a pain in the ass. Again, a proper goodbye. Whenever I mention Power 1490 on Facebook or just in casual conversation or at a club, strangers will come up to me so excited, and all I have to say is Power 1490, and they remember. And I think it's not just that they remember the radio station, but they remember that was part of their years growing up, really their teenage years growing up. And when we remember our teenage years, that's special. That's special times, and Power 1490 was a part of that. So I think you say Power 1490 to somebody that grew up with it, and they get all sorts of warm emotions inside because it takes them back to that time. So I wanted to give those people something to remember the station by and that time. I wanted to do a proper goodbye for all the people that, for really everybody, all the listeners who had no idea what happened to Power 1490, to show them, hey, here's what happened. And to show them how much love we had for them and for the radio station, and to give them an explanation of why the station went away. And maybe for some other radio folks who might not have lived in Arizona, but can understand what it was to have a lot of passion, either listening to or working for a radio station. That's who this film was for. So I hope they enjoyed it.